Breaker Broke 23. So in this video today, we're going to break in a subwoofer. And this basically will go from anything from a 5¼ to, 30 inches in diameter, whatever the new subwoofers are. And we're going to do this on an old school. This is a new old stock GNS Redline ODE 12. That was an overdrive eliminator 12. And these were known back in my day when I used to sell these. I would put these in a box. They kind of sounded doggy at first. And then the customer would come back like a week later. They're just going like, oh my gosh, I cannot believe how good this woofer sounds. I want more. So some woofer companies are like that. They just use a different material on their spiders. And I'm going to basically show you what I mean by that here next. Okay, so when you think you're going to break in a woofer, or you're thinking of breaking in a woofer, you would think it was going to be this area, because this is generally what you see mostly, right? Well, the dust cap, the cone, and the surround, for the most part, don't need to be broken in. On these new modern ones, especially with these rubber surrounds, this really does not break in, that I know of anyway. Some of the styrofoam surrounds were coated, were treated on top and bottom with something, depending on the manufacturer. Sometimes those needed to break in a little bit, but more than anything, what we're really going after, we want to break in this spider. This is a woven fiber type material here, and this is coated. Usually it's chemically treated in the process, and then after the process, sometimes a company will coat both sides of it for any given reason. I'm sure manufacturers have their own reason for that, but anyway, over the years, this is just the way they are. So this is really what we're going to break in. We want to work in this motor assembly here, this spider assembly. So when this is not so stiff and it frees up and everything, it can move with ease. Your amplifier doesn't drive it as hard. It doesn't take as much power for your amplifier to drive it. Your bass becomes fuller, deeper, richer. It's just a beautiful thing. So what we're going to do is we're going to get this one going, and what we want to do is we want to get this thing bouncing around a little bit, but I don't want to ruin it. We want to move the cone and stuff and the spider, but we don't want to launch the cone out of the basket. We want to be careful with it, basically, is what I'm trying to say at the first. So I'm going to flip this back around. I'm not worried about heat from there. This is a vented pole in my little test box here. There's about 3 inches from the bottom of the box to here, so it's got plenty of air. It's the air movement is not restricted. So we're going to flip her around and get started. Okay, so we're going to have a little fun here. I've got this thing just laying in the box here. It's not going to move around on the table. Everything's good. We're hooked up to the power supply. We've got this massive Edge E3 amplifier. It's like, I don't know, a couple thousand watts rated into mono, and we're not going to use anywhere near that. In fact, I'll be honest with you, we'll probably use like 3 or 4 watts out of here, maybe at the most. I'm on a 30 amp power supply. This is a 30 amp switching power supply that's been retrofitted in this old, actually I repurposed an old Pyramid power supply enclosure. So I've got it hooked up to my signal generator. I'm using the frequency generator app on my cell phone. It's coming from the cell phone to the RCA inputs of the amplifier. I have my amplifier gain. I'm actually going to turn this down. I'm going to turn the amplifier gain to halfway. Subsonic filtering is off. Low pass frequency is off. Bass boost is on. And I have that boosted at around 30 hertz. All right. So we're going to start out here at 40 hertz. And let's give it a little volume so we can hear it. Oh, I went just a little too much. Okay, so here's what we got. We got about 3/4 volume on here. We're at 43 hertz. And what we're going to do is we're going to slow this down. There's 30. There's 26. 24. There's 21. Let's go ahead and like 15. That seems to be a good area. 14, 15 hertz. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, as we can see, we've slowed that down, but we're getting some excursion. We're getting the cone to move. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit it up a couple more notches on my phone. Okay, we're up almost all the way on my phone. Let's go down to 10. Let's try that. Oh, there we go. Okay, now we're getting some movement. I'm going to go back over here to the amp gain, as you can see, and I'm just going to slowly turn it up so I get some movement. Now you want to be careful because this is a new woofer, right? And you don't want to launch that cone. You don't want to ruin that woofer. Okay. Amp gain's up all the way. That seems to be pretty safe. All right, that's basically all we want to do. Let's tick it up one more notch here on the phone. There we go. Okay, now that's actually pretty safe. And that's what we're looking for. We want that movement. Let's see if we can slow that movement down a little bit. There's 9 hertz. Let's go up a little bit. Let's see if we can get some more movement. Just kind of play around with it. There we go. Okay, now we're getting some more movement, but with this accelerated movement, we're going to generate heat in that voice coil, and I really don't want to do that because I want to do this for a while. So I'm going to go back down to 10 hertz, and I'm going to sit there and I'm going to let it go like this. What I want to look for is a couple things. Okay, I want to make sure this doesn't get out of control. Seems like it's going to be okay. I want to make sure the amplifier doesn't get overheated. This is at room temperature right now. That's ice cold. That's the little rail cap. Oh, I unplugged my my remote lead. All right, anyway, the rail cap is ice cold. I'm going to use this as kind of a baseline for temperature by feel. My power supply is it's pulling like 1.5 amps is all. So that's pretty good. This is actually pretty efficient. All right, so these two are almost the same temperature. I'm going to let this percutute and run here at 10 hertz for about 20 minutes, and then we'll come back to it. We'll check on the driver and the amplifier. Okay, it's 20 minutes later. While I was farting around and waiting for that 20 minutes to pass, I kicked it up one little notch here and got a little bit more movement out of it. And so we're just kind of letting this thing go back and forth, back and forth. Amp temperature is beautiful. It's not getting warm really at all. It's just a little above room temperature as compared to the other piece here. Power supply is still just cruising right along. Just, what is that, 1.5 amps? It's a pretty efficient little amp. This is the massive Edge E3. Still at 10.37 hertz. So this is all okay. Power supply's okay. Woofer's okay. Not making any noise, not smelling funky. I'm sure there's somebody out there going, yeah, but is the coil getting hot? Is the motor getting hot? I don't know. Let's check it. So while it's playing, I'm just going to take her out. All right. This has got a rubber protective piece on it right here, so you're not going to feel anything there, but I'm feeling on the bottom of the magnet structure. It's just fine. Okay, so it's moving air. I'm going to show you actually what we're working in. This is going to be kind of cool. You see that? There's the spider. That's really what we're doing. It doesn't quite look that dramatic on top, does it? That's why I'm saying don't get too crazy with it. You don't want to kill your woofer. You just want to break that sucker in a little bit. All right. So, how long should you do this? Well, I don't know. Jury's out on that. I've done this back in the day. And quite honestly, this is kind of annoying here. Let me just turn it down here while we're talking. All right. Quite honestly, do it a couple hours at least. Just to keep making sure your temperature's okay. You're not killing your power supply. Do this in car if you want. You could actually even do it in the enclosure, but I'm just doing a raw driver here just because I want to give you guys the effect and show you actually what we're doing. But go a couple hours. Definitely. Is it going to make a difference? Yes, it is. It will make a difference. How many times have you guys bought a subwoofer and you think it sounds okay or whatever, it's okay, but you got your bass up a little more and you're like, okay, this is really cool, and you come back after jamming on it a week later and you're like, wow, man, that thing sounds so much better, and you end up turning your bass down or your boost or your amp gain. Well, that's because you were breaking in the woofer. Well, if you want to do it and just get instant results, just do it this way. You can get her done in a couple hours. All right, you guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you guys sticking with me. Please leave questions or comments down below. And yeah, oh yeah, subscribe. I really need it. All right. Let's turn this up and we'll just kind of walk away. There we go. Couple hours of that. One last time. I don't mean to harp. Check on your amp. Don't go to Sev. Get a 12-pack yet. Wait till you're done. There you go. Let her percutute for a couple hours. You'll thank me for it. Breaker Broke 23. Over and out. Thanks for watching.